right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Games Devs Locals podcast. I am your host, Karina, and today I'm here with Damien. We're going to talk about the games that inspire him, some community management journeys. And yeah, I'll just give it over to you, Damien. Do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Damien. I am the junior community manager at Fireshine Games. We're a indie video game publisher based in the UK. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I forgot what else I need to say, but
What
so we
I'll lead this into games because obviously
yeah,
that's the thing that I want to talk about the most. What are some of your favorite games that you can remember playing maybe when you were younger and the things that like you enjoy playing now? Yeah.
I'd say when I was younger, a lot of the games I were playing were anything that could run on really, really bad hardware. So
Oh,
things like
nice.
things like Sims 1 on my mum's laptop, like
Oh gosh, yes.
sounded like a jet engine. Um, things like I would play a lot of, oh gosh, like the original Pokemon games. And when I say original, they're going to be people who are like the original. For me, that's like Pokemon Diamond, which is
Gotcha.
pretty OG.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything on the DS, loved like Nintendogs. But more recently, in games that like inspire me on the day to day are things like big story, narrative driven, like adventures,
Yeah.
like The Last of Us is
Yeah.
the controls. I'm literally looking at my collection of games over there. What do I play?
What games do I play? Yeah, I'm the same. If someone asks me, I'm just like, oh, hang on, you put me on the spot here. What games do I
It's
like?
like honestly, it's one of the most difficult questions to answer is what video
Yeah,
games you play, especially as someone who's like working in games and their main
yeah,
hobby is games. It's like well, everything.
yeah. I found the same. It's been very interesting talking to different people about this because some people have a very specific genre or a
Hmm.
specific like franchise that they enjoy. For me, I've always had like if it's got turn-based strategy, I'm in. And that means it's everything from a pixelated, like indie game to a giant like Final Fantasy.
Hmm.
So long as it has certain elements. So now when people ask me like what is it that you like, I find that there's certain game mechanics that'll draw me to the game rather than its franchise or its story because I can be really terrible when it comes to story games. I'll be like, I wouldn't give a crap. And they're like,
It
do you not understand what was going on? I was like, nah, I just enjoyed
it
hitting
it can be
things.
difficult. Yeah, it depends on the game, of course. And sorry, my cat just
Yeah.
jumped off my table, so wobbling my mic.
All
It
good.
depends on the game. You mentioned Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy X specifically is one that sticks out in my brain as one of those
Oh, yeah.
games that just like it
Yeah.
changed something about me. It was like, oh,
Same.
this is like incredible, life changing. Um,
Yeah.
forgot what my point was, but yeah, narrative games can be hard to follow. I think it tells a lot about the mechanics that go along and how the narrative is driven and delivered.
hmm
Because there are some games I've played that could definitely be like, why isn't this just like a film? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some games are like,
Oh,
only could have been told in this way as a game.
I'm having this problem now with Final Fantasy 16
Okay.
because I love the Final Fantasy franchise and I love the turn-based combat and the switch from the paused turn-based to more
Mm.
active turn-based. I was like, that was an adjustment because Final Fantasy 10, I was like, I would take 5-10 minutes to make a strategy and then do the actions. And Final Fantasy 16 is a bit more active, but I have played 5 hours of it. I think I
Okay.
have had control of my character for about 30 minutes.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay.
This could have
Okay.
been a movie, but I will not put it in my not good games at all. It is fantastic. The cutscenes and the cinematics are top notch, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm playing a movie.
Yeah. I totally get what you mean. I
Yeah,
haven't had the chance to check out the latest Final Fantasy. I feel my
yeah,
biggest thing, and we might be going on a tangent now about Final Fantasy specifically,
that's so
but I
good.
really, it's just for me. But I don't like the kind of dark fantasy theming that they're going for now as opposed to what they were
Mm,
going for before, if that makes
mm-hmm.
sense. So everything
Yeah.
from, oh gosh, what was the one? I think it was 15. I might be going crazy, but
That's
it
the
was from like,
road trip one.
yes, exactly. The 15, that felt like the perfect balance of theming for me, where it mixed like modern and like kind of darker themes with that fantastical Final Fantasy
Mm-hmm.
thing. But the newest one, I don't know. Maybe I just need to give it a go, but it hasn't grabbed me just yet.
Yeah, I'm in and I'm not quite grabbed either, but I can see how it is a fantastic piece of, constructed, brilliant
Yeah.
like thing, but it's hard because it's changed so much from what I used to love about it. Um, but yeah, okay. Well, we know it stands on Final Fantasy now.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to ask you as well was, did you always want to work in games, or did this kind of career just kind of happened upon it, or were you sort of actively going into the games industry to work?
I think my percep my perception of things when I had started my like journey into games was that more people got into games in a similar way that I did. So
Mm.
I did school, went to college, and I was just going to do the basic like English, maths, A levels. Um,
Yeah.
but I was actually at the open day or something, and I met someone who was leading basically a media course that was surrounding video games. And this was kind of
Ah.
this like aha moment that it was actually a viable career. Because prior to that, I had been making like little games on Roblox, and I remember I would make Hunger Games arenas on Roblox. That was my entry into video game like
Wow.
development. Um, but yeah, until that moment, I didn't realize it was like a viable career. And so from that moment forward, it was my only goal was to
Mm-hmm.
make it into the games industry and have that be my career, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And that was it initially in making games, or was it sort of supporting
So
game devs and development?
it that's a great question. It kind of started um, with not having any passions anywhere else but video games. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
video games are what I know and what I love, and now I can do this as a career and make money from it and like
Mm-hmm.
do it as for a living. But now I have to decide what I want to do.
Uh-huh.
And as many people know, there are so many different things that you can do in games. There's the making
Mm.
games, there's programming, there's art, there's what we do, there's marketing, there's community management, there's so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I have no idea what specific discipline I want to do. So
Yeah.
I was pursuing video game design and development. At the time, I went to Abertay University up in Scotland to do design um, and production
Mm-hmm.
at the time. Um, Definitely did love the design elements of it and the making of the games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I was also doing this community management stuff on the side of that without
Ah.
really realizing it. So another thing that I was really passionate about at the time was I really, really liked esports. Unfortunately, it was League of Legends was my thing at the time. Um, I wish I could go back and change that. Um, and so because of that, I actually started well, I didn't start it. I was part of like the founding group for the Esports Society for Abertay University. And then over my
Oh.
4 years while we were there, we actually ended up being the biggest esports society in the UK. And so it was
Whoa.
like hundreds of different people. I was working with sponsors like Red Bull, Riot Games, Monster Energy to put on
Gosh.
like these big events. And it honestly, this is kind of where a lot of my initial community management experience comes from because I didn't really realize that's what I was doing, but
That's
it
interesting. Yeah.
was.
Yeah. I think that's a really interesting route as well in terms
Mm,
of one sort of belief that I have, which I'm happy to be challenged on if anyone wants to, but one belief I have is that community management is an innate ability. It is a person that is able to mediate between different types of people, understanding what they're saying versus what they're actually meaning and what they need, anticipating what they need as well. So, proactiveness and all of these things are, I think, quite innate. It's very difficult to teach. So,
Yeah.
I find when I meet a lot of community managers, they have sort of just happened upon it or stumbled into it, or like yourself, kind of done it without really realizing that that is what it was. And once you realize that that is a career, it's like, oh, but I'm really good
Yeah.
at this. I do this naturally. So then pursuing a career in it is very, very logical, right? So,
Yeah, no, exactly. I think you definitely have something going with that theory because a lot of what I know, it's not like I didn't go to uni to learn how to become a community manager. It was
mhm.
experience or like innate, just, I guess, understanding. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny because I didn't actually realize until I got my current job, or until I was applying for jobs in the games industry, that community management was kind of its own thing or its own realm. I wasn't aware of that prior.
Mm-hmm.
I knew like what social media was, and I knew what Discord was, and I knew there's probably someone posting about all of these things, and there's probably
Mm-hmm.
someone organizing like the Discord servers, etc.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the role was until I came across the assistant community manager role at Fireshine. And so I read
Hey.
that and I was like, whoa, this sounds like everything I've done before. Let me do some more research into it. And as I was doing
Yeah.
research, I decided to apply, and then it kind of opened
Nice.
this whole world of community management to me. And I was like, where has this been this whole time?
I wish there was a lot more visibility around this
Mm,
in school or in educational systems earlier on, because I remember feeling quite poorly guided. Looking back, obviously at the time I was just felt quite lost. I didn't know what to do. I remember just kind of following my friend over to like
okay.
culinary course to like become a pastry chef, and I was
So
like,
random.
I guess I'll do this. I was like, I like to eat dessert. That was the only reasoning that I had. I was like, I like dessert. Let's go and make them. And I was like, cool. But you do a foundational course, which obviously includes not just dessert making. It's like um, science of like food and like how you can't store your apples and your other items together. And there's
Oh,
microbiology. There's a lot of science involved, which I was
oh my
like,
goodness.
what have I signed myself up for? And then there's like, there's, how would I say this? It's butchery. Like you have to understand how to cut animals and
Yeah,
meat. And I was like, I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan, but I was like, just seeing it like, okay, this is how it's done. I was like, I'm not sure I want to be a part of this. And I was
yeah,
like, okay, this is not for me. So I ended up like, let's not do this. And I've kind of always pursued very abstract courses. So I've done art and art history quite a lot because I'm quite a creative person, but there was nothing really solid in terms of a career there.
yeah.
And I wanted to go into academia, actually. I wanted to be a professor because I actually love teaching people and coaching people and helping people.
I had no
And
idea you wanted to be a teacher
yeah,
specifically. We had spoken about you enjoying teaching before, but that's
yeah.
how did that go? I feel like that would suit you very well.
I would absolutely love that because I love having my nose in a book. I loved school. The course, the topics that were really interesting to me, I find myself being that I excelled quite well in those. Maths and sciences I can't really do, but like history and English and all of these things always did really well in. And when I went to university, when I came to England, I did art history. Now this is a big course that I did. It was history, modern art, design, and film with Japanese.
Okay,
It was a
there's
lot.
many elements to that. How was it a
Yeah,
3 year course or
it was like a bachelor's with honors. It was just sort of
gotcha?
a full encompassing course. And then one of the modules you could swap out with a language. And I was like, hello, Japanese, because I
Yeah.
love Japan and Japanese. After that, I decided to apply to a master's degree to get a master's to become a professor of East Asian studies with
Okay.
Japanese. So it would build on my Japanese knowledge, but it would also specify and hone in on East Asian sort of culture and
Hmm.
history rather than just, all history. And it tied in with my art. So paradoxically, they had no professors in East Asian history.
Oh,
So the fact that I wanted to become one, and I couldn't because there wasn't enough people who were professors in this topic. I
that's
was like,
then how does anyone
I
become
know,
one?
I know. Twice,
Such a
2 years in a row, I applied. I got
oh
accepted, but they're like, we don't have the professors.
yeah,
I can only assume the back end of like, would they had to have someone remote come in from a different university.
yeah,
Maybe there wasn't enough people that had applied to the course. I can only speculate as to why it never happened, but twice I
yeah.
was like, okay.
Yeah,
And then,
twice. It's interesting that they're advertising that, and
yeah,
then
yeah, got in
like the
both
first time
times
I
as
can
well.
understand maybe why it could happen, but then the second time, surely you would
Yeah,
understand that. Yeah, who
yeah.
knows?
It still keeps me awake on some nights to this day because my career could be vastly different. I could be a
Yeah,
professor right now. So, but yeah, I guess I owe that to where I am today. Is that didn't happen, so I ended up going into customer support because I'm multilingual, so I speak Norwegian, Swedish, English, a little bit of Japanese. I can understand Danish, of course.
wait, what?
so, so
Wait,
yeah.
what? How did I never know this? That's insane.
I
You're
think we need to have
amazing.
a coffee chat and
Yeah,
just
we
get to know
do.
each other more. We've met and
In
we've spoke, but
English.
not like
No, that's
yeah,
incredible. How
yeah.
did you?
So
Was it just like self-learning or?
well, I came from Norway, so
Okay,
Norwegian natively. Swedish was kind of the second language that I learned because in Norway, or generally in the Nordic countries, you will have a lot of cross TV series that will
I see.
we will very rarely subtitle anything, or we will subtitle some like English stuff, but like when it comes to Swedish, we would just listen and learn it as we were growing
Okay,
up. So a lot of TV shows as a child, and I just naturally soaked it all up. And I also like to try and make not make fun of, but like try and adapt the accents, like especially in England as well. I'm trying to do a Scottish or an Irish accent and stuff. So I would try to like mimic the Swedish language and
I
found
see.
myself doing it really well. So I've been told I have a good language ear, they call it.
Okay,
So
interesting.
I on paper I find it hard to learn and to take it in, but by just listening and repeating, I take it in really well. My Japanese teacher said the same about Japanese. My written Japanese, no. But my exam, when we had oral like exams and I was sat there having a conversation in
Yeah,
Japanese, she was like, good.
I see.
so
Do you think having that foundation in multiple languages from such like a young age has helped you when it comes to learning new ones, or is it like just
hmm.
trying to yeah,
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. And there's it also given me, I think, a bit of a boost in learning other things like languages that aren't specifically languages, like coding and stuff
yeah,
as well. Just understanding patterns and rhythms and repetitions and things like that has become quite easy, I think, as a result.
that's really
Um,
that's really awesome. So do you code as well?
I did a little bit when I was younger. Yeah, I haven't in a while, but I am itching to do some coding and create like games. Just because
Yeah,
working in the gaming industry, I think everyone at some point, regardless of if they're in actually creating the game, will be like, "I wonder what that process is
yeah,
like." You just kind of understand the entire thing, right? From conception to creation to execution to publishing to then
yeah,
looking after a community. It's nice to understand the entire line of that.
yeah. And I think this my current role is my only role in the games industry. I was a bar manager at a hotel for a couple of years
Oh
before
wow.
this.
Yeah.
So very different, but just being in this role almost 2 years now, I have learned
Yeah.
so much about the entire process, not just of course mainly community management, but
Mhm.
how games go from literally like nothing to releasing.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
seeing behind the curtain of that whole process is very, very valuable in learning. And yeah.
It's it really is. I think it's changed me as a player as well
Mm.
of games. So now when I'll pick up a game, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, they've done some good work on this key art."
Oh,
So
with this tone of voice.
I know exactly, and it's like, oh gosh, yeah, this creation. Oh, I love their marketing campaign. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is excellent marketing. Like, it made me stop and look at this. I was like, I wonder who
Yeah,
wrote this copy, and it's just a lot of this kind of stuff now, and I
literally.
appreciate even when there's things like, which helps you as a community manager, of course, as well, is understanding that when people are, oh, fix the game, it's broken, and it's like helpful, not
Yeah.
really, but we understand something's not right, so then we need to figure it out. And sometimes there can be easy, quick fixes. It could be releasing something earlier that maybe you wanted to wait a bit, but it's become a more critical issue. And not
Mm.
critical in a sense of game is actually broken, but we have a majority of the community being quite vocal about
Yeah,
something that
and
is
like a
really,
negative sentiment coming around the game because of
yeah,
it.
because that changes perception of the game. It changes how people see the game. It's like you can always talk to people and be like, oh yeah, oh, I remember when was it No Man's Sky when they sort
Mm.
of like really everything was just like I remember hearing so much negativity
Yeah,
around it all the time. It's had this huge redemption arc now, but it's like it's because someone or many more someone's listened to the community and the fans and okay, this wasn't quite what was expected. What can we do to resolve this? And that is listening to community sentiment.
yeah, exactly. It's so, so, so important and so, so easy to forget about when I'm sure you're a small dev team who has no
Mm-hmm.
money and you're,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of conversations I have with devs are trying to, especially at Fireshine, we work with a lot of um, smaller indie teams because we're an indie game publisher. We focus
Mm-hmm.
on these smaller teams and smaller games, and so some of these teams it might be their first game, or some of these teams they may not have been through the entire process start to finish before, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'll often find myself trying to really explain the benefits to understanding what the community is thinking about your game and as early on as
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite an important part. And I think one thing that's really interesting is like as a community manager, you have to navigate that relationship with the players and the community, right? And navigate the relationship with the developers.
Yes, exactly.
Because you
You're
can't be like, your game crap. Yeah, devs, your game crap. Like,
no,
it's
because that
just,
was yeah, exactly. And this is something I had to learn very, very early on. Um,
yeah.
in my role here is that you you don't want to remove any information that's coming either way. You definitely have to filter pretty much
Yeah.
everything that's coming. You
It's
don't
like
want
being
to,
a
yeah,
translator.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
literally. It's
So
I
it's
know
like,
he's saying this thing.
yeah.
He means this, so I'm gonna say this, and then yeah,
Yeah. And that's a lot of like investigation sometimes as well. And also, I think there's a huge level of understanding. Just this is something that fascinates me, and I think I want to do some sort of episode or I don't know presentation or recording of it because it's in my brain. But like the human psychology as
mm,
well that gets involved with like games because games is such a it's such a big part of people's lives and sometimes it becomes this escape for some people when you
yeah,
know you have people maybe struggling with their life it's not quite at the point where they want it to be it's like certainly for me when I'm feeling down and I'm like okay I can't deal with anything this weekend I will play games the entire weekend and it's just like
yeah,
my brain is like oh but then you have maybe that game I will cite a recent example because I'm a big Diablo fan. I've played that since the first game came out.
okay, okay.
I played that game when it was a demo CD in a magazine. That's how old I
Oh
am. I've been
my
dating myself now.
goodness. Oh my
But I
gosh.
played that demo. Magazines came in like 4 or 5 CDs and stacks of stuff, and it's like this one had Diablo on it, and there was 4 levels, and I played them over and over and over again until the game came out.
That's and so you've been a
Yeah.
mega fan ever since of
I've
Diablo.
been a mega fan ever since. So I am one of those super fans who will probably look at Diablo and be like, you can do nothing wrong. I will recognize when things aren't good, of course, but I'll be
Yeah.
like, I will always play their games. So I played Diablo 4, and I was trying to get into the new season. I think it was this weekend or last weekend. I can't remember.
Mhm.
And I was like, just tired. I'm just exhausted. I just want to play my game. And Diablo is one of those games. It's just hack and slashy. It's just spam
Yeah.
buttons. It's very therapeutic for me. But the servers were having problems.
Oh no.
And I was like, I could be a ragey player and go online and be like, yeah, game and your servers, get bigger servers. You know, you can have an absolute meltdown. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, because some poor community manager somewhere is sitting there and like, I know the servers are broken.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I've been on both sides of that, and there's
Yeah.
nothing worse, especially when you become an adult who has to work,
Yeah.
of course, when you have some free time and the game you want to play doesn't work. I've been
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
but please, to anyone watching, do not come to us community managers and and like swear at us or be mean to us
I
because
know,
we're
right?
sad that the game doesn't work. But we're trying our best.
Yeah, I mean, most of the times we can't even fix it. It's like we
Yeah.
don't have the power, I think, that a lot of players think that we do. But it's just like, oh well, and then you'll get tagged, and it's like I remember this from when I was working on the Division 2
Yeah.
for Ubisoft, and it was just like I was quite a public CM. Not
Mhm.
everyone does, and sometimes I think it's probably best to be sort of in the shadows a bit. But I was very public, and I asked for permission as well because obviously I wanted to make sure that I was
I
following
see.
the guidelines. So I was very public on my Twitter that I was the Division 2 community manager. I got really close with that community, and I still am. I love them to bits. But there's parts of that community that's like really vocal and really sort of like passionate. And that's the word I always use, passionate.
So
And
good.
things
Yeah.
weren't going right. There was like tag, tag, tag. I was one of these people, and it's just like, oh, why don't you fix this? It's broken, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't have that power. Like, I can pass it on, but I don't have the power to fix it. And it's because you become the front facing
Mm.
representation almost of a brand or a game or something, you will get those things like directed at you,
It's
especially like something goes wrong.
yeah. It's weird. I found that my experience working, so before this, I was just doing hospitality, of course, the bar manager, and then before it was like a
Mm,
cafe, another bar, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I found that a lot of those jobs actually had a lot of transferable skills with community management
Mm,
because it was being in a very similar position to, like you're saying, you are the person that the customer is seeing and speaking to,
yeah.
and you're the one that's right in front of them, but you don't have the power. I can't change the drink prices. I
Yeah.
can't open up the game and change it myself right now, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
similar. And yeah, when I first started, I found that side of the job felt more natural to me and was a lot easier to navigate.
I think that's a very good point because I came from the customer support background
Mm,
after my failed career in academia. I had to do something. So I was like customer calls, like call centers.
okay.
And that was for many years until I got headhunted by Ubisoft. They needed
Mm,
a Nordic customer support agent. And I was like, oh, this is my time to shine. Like, I get into games like this, but all of that, like, experience from dealing with people because they will call you when something's wrong. No,
yeah.
very rarely would someone call you or contact you or message you or at you on social media to be like, hey, game great, love you.
Yeah.
Like, they will in the comments, but like they will specifically seek you out if something's bad or wrong. So the customer like calls would always be your product's like not working, it's done damage, this is going on, and it's mediating that kind of like de-escalating almost that kind of like really upset human that's like,
Yeah.
like the thing didn't work the way I was supposed to. I demand compensation. Like, you need to
Yeah.
fix this. You need to put better instructions. I was like, I will personally see to the instructions being changed. It's like, I can't do that, but I can pass it on.
Yeah.
but it's a lot of transferable skills. If anyone listening and watching is thinking about going into the gaming industry and wanting to be, community manager or social media manager in any sort of way, having a background in customer support and service industry, it does put you at an advantage, I think, because you have to deal with angry, frustrated people, and how would you communicate, with them?
Yeah, 100%. Please don't think that, oh, it's not relevant to games. I'm not going to include it in
Mm.
an application. It's so, so relevant.
It really is, because I think it takes a certain, and it one thing that I try not to say too much when I talk to sort of juniors or new people going into the industry, but you need to get a bit of thick skin as
Hmm.
well beforehand, because if you're very sensitive and very sort of, you really want to do well, you don't want to upset anyone, which I've been in that position myself, and
Yeah.
it hurts because you want to make sure to help everybody. But being in a customer support or a service industry sort of job, you kind of get those situations where you might get yelled at, and then
Yeah.
it sounds horrible to say you need to harden
No,
yourself up for that, but
I think the best thing you can do is not expect it to happen, because you shouldn't expect someone to treat you in a way like that.
yeah.
It's You should definitely prepare yourself for the possibility of it happening, just
Hmm.
in case, because I'm sure like, coming from my experience, it can happen, and it does happen.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I wish it didn't. And
Yeah.
being prepared and understanding that it could happen made me be in a situation where I was way more prepared to handle it in the moment
Hmm.
than when I was in a different mindset, maybe earlier on in my hospitality career. And
Yeah.
just being it, in my opinion back then, was I shouldn't have to manage this person, because they're
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm just
Yeah.
my brain.
I know what you mean. Yeah, for sure. I think that's one thing that I also wanted to ask yourself, because
Mm.
I've been community manager for 5, 6 years
Oh
now.
wow,
Well, I've
that's
been in the gaming
amazing.
industry for 7 or 8, I think. I
Okay.
lose track of time now. But I think I've lost a little bit touch with the beginner or the sort of entry advice. I can
Okay.
give sort of like a veteran advice, but
Mm.
I need to reconnect a bit more with like the things that, because at certain levels things become automatic, you just
Yeah.
kind of like, they're just there. But I wanted to ask you if there's something that you've learned in your journey early on that you think could be useful for anyone that wants to, you know join the gaming industry as a community manager.
I would say, I totally understand what you mean. I'm like I mentioned before, I'm almost 2 years in now, so it's still kind of fresh in
Yeah.
my mind, being that person who was really trying hard to get into the industry, or being that person who was very early on in the industry. I would say,
Hmm.
in terms of like landing your first role, this is going to sound very like the generic advice you hear on every LinkedIn post, but
But some people might
it's
not have heard it.
unfortunately, it can sometimes be a numbers game. It can
Hmm.
sometimes be, you just need to keep applying to these jobs,
Hmm.
as many as you can find. You need to, when I was doing it specifically, I remember when I started to get success in my applying and interviewing journey, it was when I started to treat it like it was a job itself. So I would work
Hmm.
40 hours a week bartending, come home and be like, okay, now I'm doing my 10 hours a week job applying for games, or working on my portfolio for
Hmm.
games.
Hmm.
So it's treating the application process as its own thing, and not just, oh, I've hit a couple buttons and sent a copy paste thing again.
I get you.
It's like
Yeah.
with the Fireshine one I was mentioning earlier. I researched into the role because I wasn't aware of the role, and then I researched into the company, and then I submitted
Yeah.
an application. And um, I came across the job listing for Fireshine Games through like the games industry Slack channel, and
Oh
it
yeah.
wasn't posted very widely. It was just on there
Mm.
and the Fireshine website, and nowhere else.
Yeah.
So I think part of I'd not diminishing my own abilities, but I think part of me getting the job was that I was treating the process as like the job finding hunting process as a job itself, and so I was able to find these more niche opportunities that weren't as
Mhm.
widespread and there weren't as much like fierce competition for. Um,
Yeah.
and another big thing is please don't let it get you down if you're told no.
Mhm.
And always ask for advice. Sometimes they won't have the time, and sometimes you'll get a no just because there's too many applications and they haven't got the time to look
Yeah.
at your application. Don't take
Mhm.
it as you're bad. Don't take it as you're not good enough, etc. Take it as a see if you can get feedback, and if you can, which I was able to like 50% of the time, just try and
Nice.
work on that feedback and try and improve yourself for the next
Mhm.
time you're in that position.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good. I also have had, how to say this? I've heard recently that a large number of people might get asked for their own social media channels and their follow account
Mm.
as part of
Oh, interesting.
the process, which
Yeah.
I will say this, and I think 99.9% of the people in my job as a community manager will say the same. We do not have time to look after our own social media.
No, oh my goodness, that's just like
So
another
yeah.
thing to add on
So
to
that's
everything
something
else.
I don't know if you've seen that or heard that recently, because that's something I found quite curious. It's like the fact that that would even count, and it
Yeah.
means that you also have to do not just the job searching as like that commitment and that job himself, but also your own social media. You have to be
Mm.
your own social media manager to even. I'm not sure if this is part of demonstrating the ability to build a follower or a community, but that shouldn't.
Yeah, I can understand that part of it. In my
Mm,
experience, when I was job hunting, the role that I'm in now was actually the only community role I had ever applied or interviewed for. And this
hmm.
role specifically, I wasn't asked for any personal social numbers or anything.
Yeah.
I was very forefront in my application saying like, these are the numbers and these are the communities that I was able
Hmm.
to build just personally. So there was the esports one, and there was
Yeah.
also, oh my gosh, this is showing how much of a nerd I am. So Project Zomboid had just released their multiplayer update, and I was like, wow, I know what I can do. And we made this Project Zomboid role play server, which is, oh, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but we got
Wow.
uh, like 50K people, I think, in August. I'm not sure, but it's because it exploded with multiplayer. Everyone was interested. People were like, I want to live out my Walking Dead fantasy by playing this Project
Yeah.
Zomboid. And it was just after COVID, so people were still like transitioning to going outside
Yeah.
again. I'm going on such a tangent, but my
No, no.
point is, I get it from the company side of maybe asking for personal social medias and personal social media like numbers, etc.
Mm.
In terms of proving your ability to do that, especially if you're starting off and trying to get like an
Mhm.
entry level. But I think, like you're mentioning, it's not the best accurate representation of what you're able to do.
Yeah. I
And
think
I mean, I'd be interested to hear what your experience is with it because I'm like a like publisher side community manager. I work on all of our games, but you're more like freelance. So I
mm,
wonder if you come across this a lot when clients are looking for community managers.
it's really interesting because I feel like looking for someone to demonstrate their own social followership as part of the, requirements of would you be fit for this role.
Mm,
I think it comes from wanting to see evidence of engaging with a community or engaging with followers or engaging with people online. I haven't seen it myself yet. I've just heard of it. But I think
okay.
what it should be replaced with instead is what communities are you a part of? Are you a moderator in a Discord? Are you on a forum, if forums exist anymore? Are you contributing? Are you doing content? Are you a streamer? Are you trying to
Yeah.
stream things? Like, how are you dealing with, communications online? I think that should be a much more appropriate sort of way to gauge that kind of thing. It could even be, it doesn't need to be maybe online, but maybe you just are quite tapped into social media, because I think
Yeah.
sometimes people just want to see demonstration of you having a clue about what's going on online. It's like, do you know the latest trends on TikTok? Seems to be a big one that I've encountered in my freelance career, which has been like a year and a couple of months now, which is quite nice. But yeah, they want to see sort of, are you aware of the TikTok trends that are going on? Are you aware of how we can tap into this using our communities? Do you know what's going on online? Is there some like idea that we can do that you think would do really well on Reddit? Because Reddit is now a bigger space than it used to be, a lot less toxic than it used to be as well. So where I hang out on Reddit, it's not as toxic anyways. But yeah,
That's fair.
I think that's a much better way. But I do also think, having talked to a few potential clients since I became freelance, a lot of them have this, what I feel is an antiquated notion of like, you need to gain as many followers as possible for your game to be seen and be successful, which isn't really the
No,
case.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, so sometimes I've done sort of a nice gesture and sort of been, okay, so followership can be important, but you need to make sure that you have an engaged followership. So you want to make sure that you engage people. If you inflate the followership with, rewards and promises, and that's all the things that you do, you're going to have 200, 300 people following your indie game that are just waiting for the next giveaway and just want stuff from you, rather than really engaging and spreading the good word about your game. So I think there's a nice little gap there in the market for people who want to help indie developers. If you have experience in the industry, just explain to them that kind of thing. But that can be hard if you're a junior or a new person in the industry as well, which is why understanding online social media can be important. It's a hard place to navigate for anyone.
Tricky. It's the thing that always gets me with social media are how different platforms work. It's like trying to figure out, like,
and they're constantly changing.
oh my goodness, there's Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Discord. It's like all the other ones that I haven't listed off. And all of them have different rules and different things that work and things that don't. And
and all of them have, to one level or another, people that are involved with the platform. Let's say the people at TikTok that have their own, I'm not saying agenda here to be mean in a malicious way or anything, but they do have their own strategy and like, what do they want to do? So not only is there algorithms and updates and how to become seen and on For You page and stuff, but it's also like, oh, this is, when I go to like, oh, these are the viral songs at the moment, and I'm like, these are not the viral songs at the moment.
These are not what I'm hearing on all of the TikToks that I'm seeing.
Exactly, these are not the ones. So there is obviously on their side as well an agenda from, they wanting to push maybe songs, maybe there are artists behind those songs that have paid some prices to like, I don't know, there are loads of different things. And I just think that people behind, like X and Elon Musk as well, he has his own agenda with what gets shown in places. He thinks that putting the link, I don't know if this has been updated, he thinks putting the link in your first like post is lazy. Apparently I saw this somewhere. I don't know if this is like urban myth or whatever, but I saw that and I was like, but how else are you supposed to put the link? And no one really checks the reply for the link.
No, literally. Literally exactly as you said.
Yeah, so then there's that. But then I've seen no decline in my post being seen less because I put the link in. And then the fact that hashtags are not supposed to be, easily, I don't know, they don't really do much anymore, apparently, but maybe that's just something he says, but I don't know.
It's this really weird ocean of like different platforms and trying to figure out what works for one and doesn't, because it's difficult.
It's a minefield. That's why when people ask me and I was like, hey, what is your best approach for TikTok? I'm like, do you have an hour to talk about
it? We can guess. Who knows?
I know, exactly. So it's not hard, and we're all just trying to do our best. And I think just being mindful and checking in on the stuff that you're doing and making sure that you know what your community may want. If you have every game will have a certain archetype
Yeah.
of character, personality that will be attracted to that kind of game. You know, like the Souls-like games. I can't play them because I think that my life has a difficulty level of Dark Souls. So when I go into games, I want them to be like unicorns, rainbows, and like flippy floppy easy mode. I want
Yeah.
easy mode because life is too damn hard. And some people are just life is too easy. I want something that's going to challenge me. Life doesn't challenge me enough, so the games are going to challenge me.
That's a
So
really
as long
interesting way
as
to,
you,
yeah. I'm definitely the other side where I like my games to be as difficult as possible. I want
yeah,
them to challenge me. If they don't, I'm like, why am I playing?
yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it.
And I'm just like, I hate this. Why am I playing?
Exactly. It's
But I love that that's different players,
yeah,
different
in the
personalities.
different archetypes of your community. We were talking about this a lot recently in the super secret special awesome project that we're working on together. You'll know about
Yay.
that too. Yeah, we were talking about archetyping communities, and I found that helped a lot in some of the Discord research I was doing recently, is
Hmm.
nailing down who I expect or who the archetype of the community is, and what
Yeah,
maybe I would want them to be, and how I serve them, and how
yeah,
we make this a space for them, and not just me doing the same thing for every single games Discord or every single Discord that I
exactly.
work on.
Yeah, I love doing that analysis of the community. You create like your 4 or 5 personality
Yeah,
types that is going to be interested in said game. And it's like, this is Deborah. She's an accountant. Da, da, da. She comes
yeah,
home and she picks up her Switch and she plays like sandbox games because she wants to be creative because her job's like not, it's quite rigid. She has very strict rules around her job. So she just wants to be free in this game.
yeah,
And she likes, I don't know, like Mexican like cuisine and stuff. And it's just building that kind of like, okay, so this is the type of person that would be interested. And this includes, which people don't think about, is age, gender, and where they're located in the world as well.
yeah.
Because you have very different, you have a game goes global, but you have different communities in different countries. So you'll be like, well, I see there's a lot with like the Western and Asia markets. That's quite a big divide of like what these two different markets enjoy. So you have
Hmm.
to approach marketing and community management very differently in Asia than you do to the West, which is why often teams will have a dedicated Asian or Asia like community
Yeah,
manager or marketing manager. Yeah,
yeah.
it's super interesting.
It is. It's community management is a very huge and a very it's a lot deeper than people think.
Yeah.
I think from what a lot of people tell me, people sometimes see community management as similar how some people have a misconception of QA. It's that's your step into the door and then you can go do
Mm-hmm.
a real job in games. But that's not how it is at all. Community
Mm-mm.
management is the real job that you do in games.
It's
Trust
a
me,
big job as well.
it's a humongous job.
I always picture this as I'm going to finish off on this one actually.
Okay.
I picture community management, you're at the center of it, but you have to talk to so many different
Mm,
departments. You have marketing, you have branding, you have QA, you have development, you have publishers, you have it, like you have all of this. It's a huge hub where you're
yeah.
connected to all of them because you have to like talk to all of them as well. And a lot of the time they don't talk to each other and they
Yeah.
might not talk to you, so you have to seek them out. And all of the things that you have to do, you're essentially a copywriter, you're a graphic designer, you're a social media manager, you are a sentiment like reporter, you do analytics, so you do data collection, you're a data analyst, you're a psychologist, you're trying
Yeah.
to understand the psychology of your community, conversationalist, a public speaker, presentations. There are so many things people don't
Yes.
realize is involved with community management. So going into it thinking, oh, this is fun, easy, it's not fun, easy all the time. It's it depends on your motivation for doing it, but it is definitely not a I'll get my foot in the door and then I'll do
Yeah.
the things that I want to do. It's like if you step
100%.
into a community manager role, it's a big, big role
Yes.
to start with. But it does
Yeah.
set you on a good path for whatever else that you might want to try and do. But that's a tricky journey.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for having this chat. I feel like we should chat a little bit more about stuff in the
Yeah.
future.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you
Is
so much for
there
having me.
Yeah, no worries. Is there anywhere that you want to let people know where you are on social media? Do you have any sort of channels that
Um,
you want people to
I
check in
mean,
on? Or
I'm on Twitter, but I just talk about the stuff that I want to talk about. I'm not so much into being a community manager on my own Twitter, but I would love for people to come and follow Far Far West to join our Discord. We're doing playtests very
nice.
soon. Um, there are probably 100 more games that I should plug right now that I can't think of. But
So good. We'll put some links in the
games.
description if there's
Yes,
any that you
check
can
out
think of.
Fireshine Games. We've got some very exciting things coming up.
Fireshine Games is amazing. I'm not just saying that because I work with you all as well, but I genuinely think that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.